של שקט.
הנה הם באים, ימים של שקט. כבר שכחתי איך שהם נראים. אפשר עכשיו לפתוח את הדלת, לשלוח את רוח ציפורים.
הנה הם באים, ימים של שקט. נצא לחלון לראות אם קלו כבר המים, אולי כבר יש באופק אדמה. זוגות זוגות, נצא זוגות זוגות, נביט אל השמיים, נחכה ביחד ליונה.
הנה הם באים, ימים של שקט, אחרי שכבר איבדנו את הכל.
תשב איתי עכשיו על המרפסת, תבכה איתי ביחד על אתמול.
הנה הם באים, ימים של שקט. נצא לחלון לראות אם קלו כבר המים, אולי כבר יש באופק אדמה. זוגות זוגות, נצא זוגות זוגות, נביט אל השמיים, נחכה ביחד ליונה.
שנינו כאן ביחד על ההר, המים כבר ירדו ויש גם קשת, אפשר לקום, סוף העולם עבר.
הנה הם באים, ימים של שקט. נצא לחלון לראות אם קלו כבר המים, אולי כבר יש באופק אדמה. זוגות זוגות, נצא זוגות זוגות, נביט אל השמיים, נחכה ביחד ליונה.
הנה הם באים, ימים של שקט.
הנה הם באים,
נצא לחלון לראות,
הנה הם באים, ימים של שקט.
יחד לב אל לב נפתח ונראה את האור שבשמיים. יחד לב אל לב נפתח בתקווה לאהבה.
איך שהלב נפתח, חובק את העולם, ובקריאת עולם נשיר לאהבה. אם הוא הכל אפשר, זה לא מאוחר, השחר כבר עלה, זמן לאהבה. יחד לב אל לב נפתח ונראה את האור שבשמיים. יחד לב אל לב נפתח בתקווה לאהבה, ורק אם נע
נדע ימים טובים מאלה, עוד נדע ימים טובים פי אלף, שורשינו יעמיקו סלע כמו ארזים בהר.
עוד נדע ימים טובים מאלה, עוד נמתיק מימיו של ים המלח בשדה ירוק, אחר השלף באשת בלב מדבר.
יחד כל הדרך.
שלום לכולם. Hi everybody. Welcome. שלום, שלום לכל החברים בקשת אונליין. Hello my friends, welcome. Hi, shalom. If you want to turn on your camera so we can see you, like you can see us, you can do that at the very bottom of your screen. You click the camera icon, שם אפשר ללחוץ. And I think some more friends will probably join us in a little bit. Yeah, friends are joining us. So you can turn on your camera at the bottom of your screen. And grown-ups, if you want to change the name to your child's name, so it's easier for us to talk to them, that's at the top right of your rectangle. מי שרוצה לשנות את השם, לשם של הילד או הילדה, אז אפשר לשנות בצד ימין למעלה של המלבן שלנו. אוקיי? ככה אפשר לעשות, ואז יהיה לנו יותר קל גם לדבר איתכם.
Ella, we can't see you for some reason.
You can't see me? I can
Yes.
see me. That's very strange. Let's find out. Why? Let's see. How about now? Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Yeah, Yaniv writes to me, we see you. So Yaniv, thank you so much. Okay, so now we can all see me. That's great. I'm really glad. I think more friends will join us. I want to make sure that you can also, can you hear me? If you can hear me, put your hands on your head, please. Great. And Yael does it too. Well, today we have a very special guest because
בואו, הם התחילו אלה. אין לה בא לי.
you know what? So I'm going to make sure that all of our friends, as much as you know that I love hearing you, I want to make sure that we're muted because otherwise it's going to be hard for everybody to hear us. Okay? But if you have a question, I'll open your mic so that we can hear you. So my friends, today, maybe you already know, it's a special day. היום יש לנו יום מיוחד. זה יום שקוראים לו יום השואה. And it's a day when we remember a lot of people and sometimes a lot of things, and especially we tell stories. אנחנו מספרים סיפורים. סיפורים של דברים שקרו פעם, things that happened a long time ago. סיפורים של דברים שאולי אפילו עוד יקרו, maybe things that are still happening or will still happen. And sometimes the stories are a little sad, and sometimes they're not so sad, and a lot of times they're very, very hopeful stories. סיפורים עם המון המון תקווה. And today we're going to see and learn about all sorts of places and people and communities from a long time ago and not so long time ago. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to go on a special tour. אבל אנחנו לא נלך באמת לסיור, מה אי אפשר. נכון? אנחנו לא יכולים לטוס לישראל, ואנחנו לא יכולים לטייל, ואנחנו אפילו לא יכולים להיפגש, אנחנו יכולים רק להיות ביחד בזום. So today we have a special friend who's here to show us how we can do a whole tour right from home. So everyone, we're going to say shalom to Yael from Beit Hatfutsot, the Museum of the Jewish People at Beit Hatfutsot, and she's going to tell us exactly where we're going to go. Everyone say shalom to Yael. Shalom Yael.
שלום.
יעל, אז מה אנחנו עושים היום? לאן אנחנו הולכים?
As היום, today, we're going to take a tour around the world, and we're going to do it through our museum in Tel Aviv. Okay? I work at a museum in Tel Aviv called Beit Hatfutsot, the Museum of the Jewish People, Muzeon Am Yehudi bebeit Hatfutsot, and I want to show you around the museum. And through the museum, we're going to explore stories of people, of places from around the world. But first, I want to ask you, raise your hand if you've been in a museum before. Okay, so some of us has been in a museum, some of us haven't. And let's think those who have been at the museum, what do we see? Sometimes we can see art, we can see different, if it's a science museum, we can see different experiments. We can see if it's a nature museum, we can see different animals or dinosaur bones. So today, what we're going to show you in the museum are certain things that are real, certain things that might be a model of something real, but we're going to explore the past and the present through different Jewish communities around the world. So before we start and before we talk about different ways of telling a story, I want to ask you what countries you were born in. And maybe you could, we're not such a big group, so maybe you can unmute yourself if you want to unmute yourselves and tell me,
You know
or
what?
raise your
You
hand.
can raise your hand or write in the chat, and I will unmute you if you want to tell us what country you were born in. I wonder, so Elaine Tom wrote to us New York. Is there anyone who wants to raise their hand and I can unmute them and they can tell us? Here I see Maya A. Maya,
כיתה.
איפה נולדתם?
איפה נולדתם? דבר.
אנחנו נולדנו כאן באוסטין, טקסס.
באוסטין, טקסס, תודה. מי עוד? Anyone else? I can say, אני נולדתי בישראל. I was born in Israel. Yaniv wants to tell us. Yaniv? Oh, yeah, Abba can also. יניב, איפה נולדת?
Now you can, היא שומעת. תגיד. איפה נולדת?
סיאטל.
בסיאטל, תודה. מי עוד? Let's see who else. אלה. לא אני. אלה, איפה נולדת?
סן דייגו.
סן דייגו, וואו, תודה. ומיה? אוי, מיה גם, הנה, הצלחנו.
בניו יורק.
בניו יורק. Wow, it looks like most of us were born here in the United States. Someone wrote St. Louis.
So was I. I was born in New Jersey. So I was also born in the United States. I live now in Israel, but I was born in the United States. Does anyone else want to tell us? Okay.
Also, you can
You
always
can write in the chat. I see we have New York and St. Louis, USA. So now my next question, and you can either write in the chat or raise your hand, is I want to ask you where your parents or maybe grandparents, if you know, where they were born. What countries? Okay, Hadass is raising her hand.
Israel.
יופי, הדס. מי עוד? גם יניב?
Morocco and Israel.
מרוקו וישראל, וואו. עוד מישהו? אלה?
Israel.
ישראל, וואו. עוד מישהו? אני רואה שעוד חברים. טריסי, אני רואה שהרמתם את היד. טריסי.
Russia.
Russia, ברוסיה, wow. And I see in the chat we have some answers. Anybody else who wants to raise their hand? I can say mine. My Ima and Abba were born in Israel, and Saba וסבתא וסבתא נולדו בישראל, אבל עוד סבא אחד, one more Saba, grandpa of mine, was born in Iraq.
And I'll say mine, my parents and grandparents were born in the United States, Beit Hatfutsot, but my great-great-grandparents were born in Russia and Ukraine and Moldova. So, yeah. And I see here in the chat, so we also have Israel. And then my last question for now is if you know where your Saba Shela, your great-great-grandfather, if you know different countries they came from before the countries that you say.
מיה יודעת, כן מיה.
אני לא יודעת, אבל רציתי להגיד שהסבא וסבתא של האבא שלי הם היו במלחמה.
וואו, איזה סיפור חשוב, תודה מיאלה. תודה רבה רבה. מי עוד? הנה רוני ואורי.
אני בישראל.
בישראל גם, וואו, איזה יופי. ומי, הנה יניב רוצה לספר לנו.
בולגריה.
בולגריה, wow, so many countries, יעל.
משהו. And I see on the chat, גם כתבו לנו, גרמניה, צ'כיה, אוסטריה, תימן, Poland, so many countries. So I just want to think in this one group, look how many countries we talked about, right? And if we look on the map together, we can see all the countries we talked about, right? We talked about Artsot Habrit, Israel, and Taiman, and different countries in Europe, and in Iraq, and Morocco. And if we were to go outside, if I were to go outside in Tel Aviv and ask the same questions, we would hear even more answers. We would hear Brazil and Argentina, and we would hear New Zealand and Australia and India and Tunis and Syria and France and England, all of these stories together. And what's really special is all of our stories connect. At Beit Hatfutsot, at the museum, we say, you are part of the story. Each one of us has our own personal story, right? My story, my family's story, my grandparents' story, but that story is part of a much greater story, a much greater Jewish story. So just here we see how we're all linked together. So now we're going to go and we're going to travel to see some of the Batei Knesset, some of the synagogue, some of the places in the different communities that you came from. But what we're going to be looking at is how to tell a story, right? You can tell a story in all different ways, right? How you can tell a story by reading a book, right? You can take a book from home, from the library, and read a story. You can listen to a story, right? You can also look at a drawing, right? A drawing can tell a story, or listen to music. These are all different ways that we can say a message to someone else. So now we're going to travel together, and we're going to start off in, this is the museum in Tel Aviv. We're going to go up the stairs, and I want you to see what we're looking at right now. This beautiful piece of, this is made out of wood. And what we're looking at is a ceiling. We're looking at a ceiling of a Beit Knesset, of a synagogue in Ukraine, right? So we mentioned Ukraine. Some of our families are from Ukraine. So this is from Ukraine. It was built out of wood because there were a lot of trees there. But let's look and see what they drew on their synagogue roof. They drew all these animals, right? You can see we have an elephant, we have a turkey, we have a unicorn, we have bears and flamingos and lobsters and monkeys. These are all influences that the artist knew. He knew different types of drawings that he also brought into this synagogue here. And if you had to think what you would draw on the wall or on your roof, what might it be, right? What might you put in draw in your home? And this is what he chose to give a very special feeling for those people that are in this synagogue. But I want you to look at this wall right here. And this wall, the artist drew a place. He drew a city. Maybe some of your families are from there, or maybe you've been here. You've been there. Raise your hand if you've been to Jerusalem, if you've been to Yerushalayim. Okay, so some of us have been to Yerushalayim, and maybe some of us, if we haven't been to Yerushalayim, we might have seen pictures of Yerushalayim. So tell me now, does this look like Yerushalayim? Yes or no? So they're lions, and lion is a symbol of Yerushalayim, but that really doesn't look like Yerushalayim. This looks like a picture out of a book from many, 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 many years ago. And you know why? Because the person who drew this, he had never been to Yerushalayim. He imagined Yerushalayim. He dreamt of Yerushalayim. And when he decided to draw Yerushalayim, he did it in his imagination. And that is how he chose to draw it here. So sometimes we all think of similar things, right? We can all celebrate a Chag, right? We had Pesach just now. Maybe a lot of us had different Leil Seder, and we could have the read from the Haggadah. But in each family, it's also our special family tradition. We each have our own way of celebrating. And also here, each community has their own way of telling a story. So from Ukraine, and a picture of Yerushalayim, I want to take you to another place. And this is a place where I don't think any of you have been. But I hope we can travel there one day. And that is a place called Syria. This is this is a wall of a synagogue from a very, very, very long time ago, from 1800 years ago. Really, really, really old. And this wall here, they also tell a story. Now we're going to look close and we're going to see what stories they tell. And you might know some of these stories.
Oh, it's like a riddle for us. זאת ממש חידה.
Let's see. So we have all these different faces, right? And they drew faces like people around them. And let's see what this story is. This is a story from the Tanakh. It has to also do with a holiday, with a Chag. And I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the Chag we had just now. What Chag did we have?
Somebody know? Somebody knows. Look at the picture. You can raise your hand or you can write in the chat.
What story this might be?
Tamar wrote to me in the chat. You can write to everyone. She wrote Passover. She wrote Pesach.
Nachon, Toda Tamar, you're right. Exactly. This is Pesach. This is Passover. And look at the story here. We have a baby. And here we have what looks like a teva. We have Moshe Bateva. Moshe was being saved in the river. He was floating in this teva. And that has to do with the story of Mitzrayim, of Bnei Israel b'Mitzrayim. Yes, thank you. Elad and Shira wrote us Moshe. And here's another story, also from Pesach. We can see that Bnei Israel is going through the waters and going through the Dead Sea. So we talked about different ways that we saw how we're in art, we're telling a story. Now I want to show a different way to tell a story. And I'm going to show it from a different place. We're going to go back to our map. Just remember, I'm here, right? We're over here and I'm here in Israel. We traveled first to Ukraine, then we went here to Syria, and now we're going around here to Amsterdam. Okay? If anyone's been to Amsterdam, you can let me know. And we're going to travel and we're going to show you a model of the synagogue in Amsterdam. Now, what we're looking here is something very, very special. Okay? We're looking at the Beit Knesset. Now, first, what is a Beit Knesset? A Beit Knesset is a place. Yes, Yaniv, you want to say? What happens at Beit Knesset? Yeah, Yaniv's raising his hand.
Yeah, Yaniv.
מה קורה בבית כנסת, יניבי?
מתפללים.
מתפללים. יפה מאוד, right? It's a place where people pray. What else happens at a Beit Knesset? What else might happen? Maybe someone's been to a...
Oh, Mia wants to tell us maybe.
Yes.
Can Mia?
כמו חגגים, כמו לפעמים חגים.
חוגגים חגים, נכון.
נכון. חגים, right? נכון. Ronnie also wants to tell us.
Ronnie? I will find you, Ronnie, and then I can unmute you. There you are. בבקשה.
אנחנו לומדים על סיפורים.
We learn about stories. Wow, נכון. נכון. A Beit Knesset is also a place where people learn. Exactly. Maybe some of you have been to a bar or a bat mitzvah at a Beit Knesset, right? And also I see someone wrote in the chat their weddings in a Beit Knesset, right? It's a place of smachot. Also, a Beit Knesset can be a place where people do good things for the community. They come to help others. But a Beit Knesset is really a place of community. It's a place where people come together. And that's why in Hebrew, it's a Beit Knesset. A Knesset is a place of gathering, of coming together. It's not just a Bet Tfilah. It's not just a place where people come and pray. It's a place of bringing people together, of community. Yes, Mia, you want to say something? Ken?
Mia? Here you are, Mia.
Also, people put the Torah and Beit Knesset.
That's right, the Torah.
Nachon Mod, right? There's the Torah, and we're going to see where the Torah is, where the Sifrei Torah are in the Beit Knesset. And I think also Hadass wanted to say something. Nachon?
Okay, Hadass, did you want to say something here? בבקשה, Hadass.
גם עושים ברית.
ברית, נכון.
Right. Nachon, breed, and sometimes babies get their name in the Beit Knesset. Nachon Me'od. So it's a place of, we said, of people coming together. There can be a lot of different places, right? People can come together in at Keshet, right? Nachon? You come together, or now even at the Zoom call, people can come at JCCs or different places. And also people can come together at a Beit Knesset. So this Beit Knesset is in Amsterdam, in Holland. And
Yael,
Ken,
יש לי שאלה. I have a question. Is this
Yes.
the real Beit Knesset?
it's a really good question. This is a model of the Beit Knesset. We're going inside it. It's like a doll's house. If you have a Beit Bukbot or a doll's house, we're going inside it. And that's what we have in the museum. In the museum, we have 22 models of these Beit Knesset from around the world. But if you go to Holland, in Amsterdam, you can go in and you can see the actual Beit Knesset.
Oh,
Yes. So we're gonna pretend we're going inside, and I want you to look at the lamps here. Now look at those lamps. It's very interesting. Okay. Now I'll tell you, those lamps aren't made out of electricity. They're candles. In fact, there's no electricity in this synagogue. So how do they see? So every week when they meet, they usually don't meet in this room. They meet in a side room that does have electricity. But once a year, on a very special day, on Yom Kippur, then the synagogue is lit up. And how is it lit up? It's lit up by candles. Every one of these parts of the lamps, there's candles. Now I want you to write, and feel free to write, you can write me on the chat. How many candles do you think they're in this synagogue, in this Beit Knesset? Kama nerot yesh? Guess. Okay, we have a lot of lamps. Think how many candles there might be.
I don't know. Oh, wow.
500, maybe 24. Good guesses. What else do you think?
Maybe even 1,000. It looks like so many lamps.
Right? It looks like a lot, right? Right. So first of all, your guesses are great. Your guesses are great. And in this Beit Knesset, there are 613 candles. There are that many, 613. And 613 is a symbolic number. It's a number that tells a story. And what's the story it's telling? It's talking about the number of mitzvot, or commandments, in the Torah. And they chose that number because it was a special number for them. So that's how many candles. And you mentioned the Sefer Torah. The Sefer Torah is in here. It's in the Aron Kodesh, right here. So that's where the Sefer Torah is. So from the candles, and I told you to look at the lamps, right? Because they tell a special story. Now we're going to see those lamps in another very special place. This is now a bit closer to the United States. Maybe some of you have gone there on vacation, and that's to an island, the island of the Caribbean. Okay, so this is on an island. Now think, what do we have on an island? Do we have a forest sometimes? One thing we have on an island, right, is a beach, right? An island is a piece of land that has water all around it. So we're going to have a beach. And what do we have at the beach? We have sand. יש לנו חול. בחוף הים יש לנו חול. אז בואו תראו מה עשו בבית כנסת הזה. Let's see. So this is in an island. First of all, you can see that they're the same lamps, and that's because it's the same community that came from Amsterdam to here, right? They were from Amsterdam, and then when they built their Beit Knesset, they built it very similar. Just think, if you're going to move houses, there are going to be things that you're going to take from your room and you're going to put up in your new house, right? So also that, they did that so they can feel at home. But look, something, it's a bit hard to see maybe here, but in the back, the floor is made out of something very, very special. The floor is made out of sand. Have you ever been in a building with sand on the floor? Raise your hand if you've been to a building with sand on the floor. לא כל כך, לא ממש עושים את זה. And so we can see, so the question is, why did they put sand on the floor? So remember we talked about telling a story? So that sand tells a story. It tells a story about the history of this community. This community, they weren't from the Caribbean originally. They came from Holland, where we just were. And before that, they were in a place in Spain. And in Spain, at one time, Jews were not allowed to go outside as Jews and practice their mitzvot. What they would do is they would gather together and they would put sand on the floor so they wouldn't hear them coming together. The sand muffled or made it that they couldn't hear their voices. And so even now, when they got to a new place, they put sand on the floor so they could remember their family or their community's history. Now,
Yael, you know what that reminds me of? Maybe some of the kids thought of that too. Do you remember in the story of Hanukkah, my friends, that it's the same thing? The Jews were not allowed to pray together or to study the Torah together. And what did they do? They got together and they pretended to play, sometimes dreidel, and they pretended to do other things so they can still keep their mitzvot in the same way. And it's kind of the same way, right? They wanted to keep their mitzvot and they found a special trick. That's what it reminded me of.
Yafeh. So I'm so happy you spoke of Hanukkah, because we're going to see that in a second. But before Hanukkah, I want to ask, right? If you're at home and we just talk about different things you might have at home, and I want to know if you can go get something that relates to maybe Hanukkah or maybe a different holiday, something that you have at home that your family does together. Could be from Pesach, from Yom HaAtzmaut. What might you have?
I have something.
I'm going to go get it too.
I found something.
What do you have?
I found, and maybe other friends will go get something too. I found here, I can show you. This is kind of a kamea. I don't know what you would call it in English. It's a kamea, and it has what in English, we call this the children's blessing, and sometimes in Hebrew, we call it Birkat HaKohanim. It says, Yivarchech Adonai v'yishmerech. I got this from my grandma.
Wow.
We all have one. All of my siblings in our house, we had these by our beds when we were little, and I still have it. So this is something of mine that my family has that's special to us, like a Chanukiah or like something special that tells a story about our family.
Wow, thank you. Ez Yofi, thank you. I see also Perry brought us something, right? Tell us what you have.
רוצה לדעת מה זה? מה זה? להמליק נרות ש...
Oh, you don't have to tell us. Okay.
You don't have to tell us. It's fine if you show it. Ez Yofi.
And let's see who else. I think some other friends. Oh, Yasmin brought us something. Yasmin, מה זה?
Okay, התביישת. Okay.
Let me see. I'm going to unmute you, Yasmin, so we can hear you. Yasmin, מה זה? What did you bring?
Israel.
דגל ישראל. Wow. And I see Hadass brought us something too. Hadass, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
זה פרח.
זה פרח. מה עושים עם הפרח הזה?
קוטלים את זה. בט"ו בשבט.
בט"ו בשבט שותלים את הפרח. איזה, וואו, כל הכבוד. ואני רואה שמיה אולי גם רוצה לספר לנו על משהו? בבקשה, מיה.
יש לי חנוכיה.
וואו, איזה יופי, תודה מיה. All of our friends have such special things at home. עוד מישהו?
איזה יופי.
Beautiful.
So, and I'm going to show you one thing that we have also at the museum, and it's a Haggadah. It's a bit hard to see. It's a Haggadah from Pesach. So now I want us to, after you show me some of the things that you have at your home, and Toda Rabba, I loved seeing those, I want to show you some of the one thing that also a community has from Poland. You mentioned some of your families are from Poland, some Mishu is Kiel. So we're now going to travel together to, here we're back. We're going to travel together to Warsaw, to Warszawa in Poland. And look at this Beit Knesset. It's very big, right? Very, very big. Now I want you to think, how many people can be in there? So here we get to even 3,000 people that can be in this Beit Knesset. On the top, there was a Magen David, like on the Degel Israel that you brought. And in the here, we also have on the right, you're going to see on the side of the Aron Kodesh, right? We said the Aron Kodesh is where the Sefer Torah is. We have something that you're going to recognize. And look, it's a Chanukiah. It's a Chanukiah, and it's a very special Chanukiah. Now let's think back. Let's think back to Hanukkah. Hanukkah was a long time ago. Here we're going to see the Chanukiah right now. What's the difference between a menorah and a Chanukiah?
Let's see.
Anyone remember? It was a while ago. So what?
Oh, תמר, את רוצה להגיד לנו? את אולי גם יופי.
חנוכיה זה עם 9 נרות, ומנורה זה עם 8.
Wow.
כל הכבוד. So נכון. So as Tamar said, the Chanukiah is with the 9 nerot, right? 8 exactly, plus the shamash exactly. And so that's what we can see here, right? We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 for each night of Hanukkah, and we have the shamash in the middle, and the menorah, they had 7 candles. So look here, this is the Chanukiah, and this is a Chanukiah that you saw in the Beit Knesset. The Beit Knesset was a model, but what you're looking at is the real Chanukiah. It's not even only one Chanukiah. There's another one just like this in Yerushalayim, also in a different museum in Yerushalayim. So how do we see this Chanukiah? So this Chanukiah was hidden from the Beit Knesset. The Beit Knesset is no longer up, but this Chanukiah was rescued, and it was brought many years by a woman from Sweden. She paid a lot of money to help the community, to help them, and she then sent it to Israel, and that's why we now have this Chanukiah that you can see that reminds us like the Chanukiot that you showed, and also the Chanukiah that we had on Hanukkah. So you can see that here. So from the Chanukiah, I want us now to go to a place called Morocco. Okay, we're going to go back on the map. 1 second. I want us to go look just on the map so we can see all the places that we've been together today. We've been together, right? We were together in Amsterdam, and we were together in the Caribbean, and in Syria, and in Poland, and now we're in Morocco, in Northern Africa. So right now, we're here, and we're looking inside the Beit Knesset. Now, first, look at the chairs. See how the chairs are facing each other? So some Beit Knesset have chairs facing one way, okay? And some of them have chairs facing each other. And in this Beit Knesset, we also said, remember, a Beit Knesset is a place where people come together. So these chairs, they would come and they would drink their tea together when they were not during Zmanei Tefillah. They would come and they would be together. And that's why we see that in their chairs right here. But look at also something here very, very special. You can see these lamps right here. On the bottom of the lamps, they're not candles in this one, but there's a chamsa. Now, what is a chamsa? A chamsa is a symbol. A symbol, it sounds, let's look at the word chamsa, sounds like, it's in Arabic, it sounds like the word chamesh, right? Chamesh, what's chamesh? 5, nachon? So chamsa symbolizes a hand for good luck. And it was something that people put, like Ella showed us her kamer, or showed us something that she got from her grandmother. So this was something that people would put, like the hand, for good luck. And I want to show you.
Yasmin is showing us.
Yofi, Yasmin.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Kol kavod. Eze yofi. So we're going to see, so we saw a real life example from Yasmin. And now we're going to see another one that I'm going to show you right here. You can see this are chamsot from Iraq, right? Ella told us that her grandmother was from Iraq. So this is also from Iraq right here. And another chamsa that I'm going to show you. This is a very colorful chamsa that you can see. Ooh. Okay. This is from an artist in Israel. And here he also drew Yerushalayim. Oh, also Mia has a chamsa to show us.
That's right.
Eze yofi. Okay, great. Thank you. I love seeing your chamsot. And now, I want you to see. Now I want you to make your own chamsa. If everyone can bring a piece of paper and markers. Okay, you're going to take a piece of paper and markers, and you're going to outline your hand. Okay. Put your hand on the paper, and then you're going to draw the shape of your hands. And inside the chamsa, you're going to choose something that's special for you, something that you want to put, right? We saw that the colorful chamsa had Yerushalayim. We saw some of the Beit Knesset, they put pictures that were important to them, something that is important to you in your chamsa.
So Yael, you know what I think I'll do is maybe I'll show the friends how we trace, just so we can see.
Great. Thank you.
If you want to look here, I'm going to show you my paper. I can't do this upside down because my hand doesn't go that way. So I'm going to use a crayon actually, because it doesn't leave as many marks on your fingers. Okay, maybe I'll choose a different color. I'm going to choose blue. That's traditional. I'm just going to go from the bottom like this and trace, and I'm going to keep my hand pretty close together to make a chamsa, but any way that we make it is our special chamsa. And then lift this up and just do the hand. So now I have the shape of my chamsa, and I can color it in, and I can put something special inside of it, and everyone is going to make their own. Nachon?
Eze yofi, thank you. Let's see.
When our friends are done, they'll probably show us their chamsa. I have to think what I'm going to put in mine. Let's see. Let's see. Do we have anyone who's ready and showing us a chamsa? Maybe not yet. We're still working. And if you don't have a piece of paper with you now, that's okay. You can make one later. Yasmin is showing us showing us that she traced. Eze yofi. Wow. Oh, פרי מראה לנו משהו כל כך יפה. Wow. Perry, I love that you put love in the middle of your chamsa. What a great idea. איזה רעיון נהדר. Let's see if anybody else wants to show us. And if not, you can finish it later and you can show us later. But I see that Nathaniel is working very hard on a chamsa. We can see, I don't know, I might finish mine later because I don't have enough time now to finish coloring everything in. And that's okay. If we're not done, we can finish it later,
Yes,
right?
You can finish it later, and you can color in, and you can add things, because just think, we all drew the same shape, right? We all drew a shape of a hand in different sizes. Some of us have bigger hands, some of us have smaller hands. We all drew the same shape, but each one of us put something else inside, just like the Beit Knesset we saw. We saw different communities, but each one put something special. Just like this, look at the Magen David in back of me. See, it's the same shape. It's a star, a Magen David, but it's full of different colors, because each one of us has our own color and our own shape.
Yeah.
So if anyone else, you're welcome to show your Chamsa. If you feel, continue later and add different things. So for our last stop on the tour, we're going to travel to some place that's very close to you. Some of you, it might be even closer, depending where you are in the United States. And that is in a place called Newport, Rhode Island. Here, we're going to be able to see it right now. Here we go. You can see this. Now, this is the oldest, we see a Chamsa Mia, thank you, Toda, Eze Yofa.
Wow.
Wow, with the Magen David in the middle. So we're now looking at the oldest synagogue in the United States, in North America. Now, look at this. We're looking at this, and you can go visit this synagogue. This synagogue is something very special about it, because look at it. So Ella and Tom says that you live in Long Island. So it's in a place called Newport. The synagogue is called the Turo Synagogue. Yes, it's still Zadain Kayam, and if Shalev Akel, you can go visit. It's actually supposed to be very, very special. And when you go visit, you'll be able to look right here. Look at this building. Now tell me what's interesting. Very often you have a street, and then you have a house next to a street, house or an apartment building next to a street. This is the street. But look at the building. It's facing a different direction. Why is that? Very strange. So with building this community is telling us something. And they're telling us about something that we see in Beit Knesset around the world, right? We see all different types of Beit Knesset, but all of them face towards Israel, towards actually Yerushalayim. So sometimes you're going to face east, right? If we're thinking about around the world, if we look at our map right here, if you're in America, you're going to be facing this way, right? You're going to be facing that way. Well, what happens if you're in China? There, you're going to be facing this way. And if you're in Africa, then you're going to be facing north. And if you're up here, right, in this part of Russia, you're going to be facing south. So all these different directions are all, though, facing towards Israel. And that we can see here in this Beit Knesset, how just looking at the building, how we see their story. They're telling us a story that we're looking at this Beit Knesset. You're also going to see, some of you might have heard of George Washington, the first president of the United States. So I told you this was the first synagogue, the first Beit Knesset, and George Washington had a very important part of their story. So they put a picture of him. It's a bit hard to see, but you can see in there, they put a picture of him in their Beit Knesset, so that way they can also remember their story and tell their story. Just like in our houses, in our rooms, we take different things to tell our story, right? We might have pictures of our family. We might have like the Chanukiot or the Chamsot. We might have things we like to do, right? Those memories, those are all part of our stories. Now, we started off the tour when talking about being part of the story, right? They're all different shapes and colors, but we're all part of the story. And there are different ways to tell this story. So I think today we had a chance to learn a bit about our stories. And thank you so much for sharing and telling me where your families were from and some of the things that you have at home. And we also see how each one of our families are different, but also in the group, we found a lot of connections and how they're together. So for this, I want to say to you, Toda Rabba. And I hope when we're able to travel and when you come to Israel, I can meet you at the museum and you can see some of the things that I showed you now and a lot of other things as well. So Toda Rabba. Thank you so much.
Friends, I'm gonna unmute everybody so everyone can tell Yael Toda Yael ולהתראות.
תודה לכם,
תודה חברים. כל הכבוד לכולם. איזה יופי שהייתם איתנו. Bye, my friends. And you know what we say sometimes? We say חמסה, חמסה, חמסה. You do that with your חמסה. ביי, תודה חברים שלי, להתראות.